Hey, you want to hear a secret? Do you know most people think that to acquire ownership in a company, to buy stock, they have to reach into their wallet and come out with cash and pay for it. But the truth is that that's just a lie. You can actually acquire ownership in companies by doing something for them. Just a little bit of effort. We call it sweat equity, and you can own 3, 5, 50, even 75% of companies. Let's talk about it. So one of my favorite ways to do deals is to get equity in companies doing these 3 things that I'm going to share with you right now, these 3 free ways to build equity in companies. Okay, so let's talk about how you do these deals. This is basically an earn in to equity. This is where we're going to take some actions that are going to be valuable to the people that own these companies. And in exchange for that, instead of paying us money or instead of us paying them money for the equity, we're going to get equity ownership in the company. That's pretty cool. There's a few different ways that you can do this. The first way is advisor. And I've done a ton of deals like this, right? This is where you're going to get typically between 1 and 5%. So it's not going to be like a huge amount, but imagine having 1 to 5% of 4 or 5 companies. If you had 5% of 4 companies, it's like having 20% of 1, right? So this is where we're going to be available to answer questions that come up and maybe even be available to participate maybe once a quarter in an advisory board meeting. So what happens is companies have these people who they're looking to that have expertise in a specific area. So you've got, all of you, everyone that's watching this has expertise. You know something cool that you could share with companies to help them be worth more. Maybe it's going to help them make more money. Maybe it's going to help them make the value of the company go up. Maybe you know something about sales or how to hire people or how to build funnels or anything you can think of. Any skill you have can be turned in to an advisory role in a company. You just have to know how to do it. Okay, that's the first kind. Now for me, one of the examples would be, I've got a guy that is the CEO of Radio Shack. He's the CEO of Steinmart. He's the CEO of Pier 1 Imports. Lots of companies that a lot of people have heard about, right? Well, he works with a friend of mine, Ty Lopez, who buys all kinds of companies. He buys these things called zombie brands that are out of business but still valuable because they have huge brand equity. Now, why on earth would they need somebody like me to be available to them? Well, because I've got, as Liam Neeson says, a very particular set of skills. I know how to help companies grow and exit. If you've got a skill like that a company, even a great company with tons of smart people like these, doesn't really have, or even just wants another person to bounce things off of, an advisory role could be exactly right for you. Okay, the second way to earn into equity is one of my all-time favorites, and here's what's cool about this. Look at this. If you can help a company, in this case, grow, this is anything operationally, but let's say that you're going to help them grow. Well, then you could get 10, 50, even more % of the company because you're helping them do something that's going to really move the needle for them. So let's talk about a couple of examples here. When I was asked to come and help one of my friends grow their event, they had some advertisers, but they had this little event and they had about $40,000 worth of advertisers, 8 people that paid, I think, $5,000 a piece. And they didn't know how to grow that. So I said, I'll tell you what, I'll show you how to get sponsors to come to your event and it will pay for the entire event. It'll pay for the speakers, everything that it costs to be there, the AV, and also be profitable for you. So I came in there and I ended up getting just a little over a third of that event. I took my skills and my knowledge and I got with somebody that I hired to go and implement the things that I knew how to do. And we built the sponsors to $1 million, $2 million, $3 million plus. So the whole event now is paid for by sponsorships. Now, what I get is not a one-time fee for doing that. I have a third of that whole business, which is worth more than 8 figures right now, created completely out of nothing just by helping them. Another example, a SaaS, a software as a service. So this is a company that has software that helps people do webinars. Well, I happen to be reasonably connected in the world of marketing and that kind of thing. So I said, I'll tell you what, I'll take all of the people that I know and I'll introduce them to you. And rather than just getting a one-time referral fee or a tiny little piece of the income that they generate, I want a piece of the company. So I partnered with another guy that has a very, very good experience in webinars, and we were able to negotiate 67% ownership in that company. 67% of a company that millions of dollars had been invested in only because I knew people to introduce them to. This is the magic of operationally generated equity. Okay, so here's the third thing that you can do for an equity earn-in, and this is really, really cool. So I call it a transaction assist because it means that every business has some transaction that they might want to enter into or something that they want to get accomplished that's a very limited thing. So it's not ongoing like an ops assist. Operational assistance is I'm going to come in and I'm going to work with this business over a period of time and I'm going to get a pretty significant chunk of equity for that. But there are events that occur in the life of a business that might just be a one-time thing. They only need a sales team set up, or they only need to get a software dev team built, or they only need to sell their business. So exit assist for me is something that I can do to get pieces of equity in companies ranging typically from 5 to 10% of the company just for helping them sell. Now think about the magic of this. Think about how long it took people to come up with an idea, to raise the money or do whatever they needed to do to start this thing up, to build it, to grow it to the point where somebody actually wants to buy it. And now I'm going to come in for like a month or 3 and I'm going to spend maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 hours and get 5 or 10% of the ownership of the whole company. I'm doing a deal like this right now. It's going to take me a total, I'm in the middle of it, right? It's going to take me a total of about, I don't know, 15 hours to do this. My interest in what the company is selling for, the company's going to sell for about $30 million. I'm getting 5% for doing that. That's $1.5 million for about 15 hours of time. I think that's $100,000 an hour, which is a decent hourly rate, right? So every 100,000 and every 1,000,005 helps. Always remember that. You should write that down. So that's by doing this transaction that they want because I'm good at that, right? I came in and I actually took the offer from 15 million to 30 million in about a week of negotiations. So I'm good at what I do, but you are too. And so whatever your skill is, whatever transaction you think you could help a company with, you can actually get equity in that 5-10% for that. And that is absolute magic for wealth building. Okay, so I just showed you 3 ways that you can get out of the lie to escape the cash for equity trap and actually earn into businesses for things that you do. One of the things that I do to get pieces of business, to get ownership in businesses, is that I'll show them how to acquire and grow their business through acquisitions of companies with no money out of pocket. I've got a book on how to do that. So if you're thinking, I don't know what I could possibly do to get an earn-in and own an interest in a company, one of the things that you could do is all the stuff that I teach exactly step-by-step how to do in this book. So click the link below, get the book right now, and start earning your way into equity. Stop paying cash for your investments. Get it for free because you know what to do. Click the link below, get the book, it'll help you out. You don't want to miss videos like this. You should subscribe. Click the little subscribe thing. Subscribe, get all the videos. Don't miss out on a single one. Missing out sucks. Don't miss out on the videos. I've got some really cool stuff that I'm going to be sharing soon. You want to subscribe so you don't miss it. I will see you in the next video.